Right now, whether you realize it or not, your life is being shaped by laws so ancient and so hidden that most people never glimpse them. These aren't man-made rules. They're the invisible operating code of the universe itself, laws that bend time, shape matter, and decide whether you rise into alignment or remain trapped in endless cycles. These 7 hidden laws don't reveal themselves to just anyone. They emerge only when your consciousness reaches a point where you're ready to see. And the fact that you're hearing this right now isn't coincidence. It's a signal. A doorway is opening. Once you step through, nothing in your reality will ever look the same again. Right now, whether you realize it or not, your entire existence is being sculpted by forces that most people never pause to recognize. These are not the physical laws you memorized in school, not the predictable equations of gravity or thermodynamics. These are older, deeper, and infinitely more powerful. They are the hidden laws of the universe, operating silently beneath every thought, every decision, every coincidence, and every turn of your destiny. And here's the truth. These laws only reveal themselves when you're ready. Think about the moments in your life that felt almost staged. The time you missed one bus only to meet the exact person who would change your path. The string of repeating numbers on a clock that appeared every time you wrestled with a decision. The strange déjà vu that left you feeling like you had walked through this moment before. Most people dismiss these experiences as quirks of chance. But if you are hearing this, you've already begun to sense that chance isn't random at all. It's a signal. It's the universe whispering that you are standing on the edge of revelation. For thousands of years, the truth about these hidden laws was safeguarded. Egyptian scribes, Greek philosophers, mystery schools, in forgotten temples all held fragments of this universal code. They encoded it into myths, symbols, and architecture, knowing that only those with sharpened perception could decode the message. The Great Pyramid isn't just a tomb. It's a message carved in stone, a physical embodiment of cosmic ratios and principles. The Emerald Tablet isn't simply philosophy. It's a set of instructions for reality itself. And for centuries, these truths were locked away from the masses. Why? Because knowledge of these laws confers power. And power in the hands of the unprepared becomes destruction. But here's what the guardians of ancient wisdom did not anticipate. The universe itself is evolving. Consciousness is accelerating. What was once hidden in temples and secret societies is now bubbling to the surface in the lives of ordinary individuals. That includes you. If you've found yourself drawn to questions you can't explain, if you've felt the magnetic pull of hidden knowledge, if you've noticed your reality bending in strange and undeniable ways, it is not by accident. It's activation. Understand this, readiness is not about education, age, or social status. It has nothing to do with degrees on a wall or titles beside your name. Readiness is an inner alignment, a resonance of your consciousness that suddenly syncs with the frequency of these laws. It often begins subtly. Restless nights filled with vivid dreams. A gnawing sense that what you've been told about reality is only the surface. A series of encounters that defy probability but feel charged with meaning. Slowly, the veil thins. You begin to realize that life isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. And the laws, the 7 hidden laws of the universe, are the invisible hands guiding the current. Let's pause here, because what I'm about to tell you is not theory. These laws are not abstract ideas for philosophers to debate. They are the operational code of existence, the very framework through which your thoughts turn into reality, your emotions ripple through others, and your choices weave the fabric of your future. And if you don't learn them consciously, you will still live under their influence unconsciously. That's the trap most of humanity remains in, manipulated by rhythms, tossed by polarities, enslaved by cause and effect, without ever realizing they have the power to participate in the design. The ancient initiates compared these laws to the stars, always present, always shining, whether or not your eyes were open to see them. But imagine wandering at night, unaware that constellations above you map the sky. You'd feel lost, disoriented, vulnerable. Now imagine lifting your gaze, realizing that those points of light trace patterns that have guided sailors across oceans for centuries. That is the difference between ignoring the hidden laws and recognizing them. The laws are the constellations of your reality. They orient you. They empower you. They remind you that chaos is only order you have not yet learned to read. But why are they hidden? Why don't these truths arrive with flashing lights and undeniable proof? The answer is both simple and profound. Revelation without readiness becomes distortion. Imagine giving the most advanced mathematical equations to a child who hasn't yet learned to count. The knowledge would appear meaningless, or worse, could be twisted into something destructive. In the same way, the universe reveals its deepest mechanics only to those who have demonstrated readiness through awareness, persistence, and alignment. You don't stumble into this knowledge. You attract it when your vibration matches the signal. And if you're still wondering whether you're ready, look at the very fact that you are here. Out of billions of people, you are listening to these words at this exact moment. Your curiosity isn't casual, it's a calling. The subtle nudges that brought you here, the synchronicities, the repeating numbers, the chance encounters, the restless hunger for answers are the universe's way of preparing you for what comes next. The laws are not revealing themselves randomly. They are revealing themselves because you are stepping across the threshold. This threshold is not without risk. Awakening to these laws doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. In fact, for many, it becomes more challenging at first. Why? Because awareness brings responsibility. Once you understand that your thoughts, emotions, and choices ripple outward through these laws, you can no longer play the victim of circumstance. You must confront the patterns you've created. You must dismantle the illusions that once gave you comfort. But in doing so, you step into power that few ever touch. You shift from being a pawn in the game to being a conscious participant in the design of reality itself. The guardians of ancient wisdom often warned initiates, once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you recognize how the laws weave through every interaction, every outcome, every apparent coincidence, the game changes forever. The comfort of ignorance disappears. But in its place comes something infinitely more valuable: sovereignty. So what are these 7 hidden laws? They are the secret architecture of reality, the blueprint behind manifestation, polarity, rhythm, and causation. They explain why your thoughts become things, why your emotions magnetize experiences, why your cycles repeat until you learn the lesson, and why balance between opposing forces births creation itself. They are not separate from you. They are you, and they have been waiting for you to notice. In the next section, we'll begin to uncover them one by one. We'll start with the first 3 laws, the laws of mentalism, correspondence, and vibration. You will see how your thoughts literally sculpt the universe around you, how patterns echo across every scale of existence, and how frequencies govern everything from your mood to your destiny. By the time you understand these first 3, you'll realize that you've been wielding them all along, only without awareness. And once you recognize them consciously, reality itself begins to shift. You are standing at the doorway. The 7 hidden laws are ready to reveal themselves. The question is, are you ready to step through? When you first cross the threshold into hidden knowledge, it can feel overwhelming. You begin to realize that reality is not a fixed structure, but a living field responding to you, reflecting you, pulsing with meaning at every turn. The ancients understood this and condensed it into the 7 laws. The first 3 are the foundation, the pillars without which the others cannot be grasped. If you understand these, you'll begin to feel the code of reality bending and shaping around you. The law of mentalism, all is mind. The very first law, the gateway to all the rest, is the law of mentalism. It declares, all is mind. The universe itself is mental. This means reality, at its deepest level, is consciousness. Everything you see, touch, feel, and experience, from the chair beneath you to the stars overhead, emerges first as thought, as idea, as mind. Physics hints at this when it tells us matter is not solid, but vibrating energy fields. Neuroscience hints at it when it shows that perception is not passive, but an active construction of the brain. Mystics have known it for thousands of years. Your mind is not in the universe. The universe is in your mind. Think of the last time you obsessed over something. A desire, a fear, a possibility. Notice how your world seemed to warp around that thought. Suddenly, you saw signs pointing to it everywhere. Conversations echoed it. Opportunities or obstacles arose that matched it. This is not coincidence. This is the law at work. Your mental state is not private. It radiates outward, shaping the field of reality around you. The tragedy is that most people let their minds run on autopilot. They allow fear, scarcity, and distraction to dominate their inner world. And what happens? Their external reality becomes a mirror of that chaos. But the moment you recognize the law of mentalism, you reclaim the lever of creation. By disciplining your thoughts, by choosing what to focus on, by designing the landscape of your inner world, you begin to sculpt your external world with precision. The ancients guarded this law because it is pure power. A mind trained in mentalism is unstoppable. It can bend circumstances, attract resources, manifest realities that others call miracles. But to the trained initiate, it is simply alignment with the first and greatest law. All is mind. The law of correspondence as above, so below. The second law is the law of correspondence. It is often summarized in the ancient phrase, as above, so below. As within, so without. This law tells us that patterns repeat across every scale of reality. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. The atom reflects the solar system. The human psyche reflects the cosmos. And your inner world reflects your outer life. You can see this everywhere. Look at a tree. Its branching pattern mirrors the veins in your lungs and the synapses of your brain. Look at galaxies swirling in space. Their spirals mirror the hurricanes on Earth and the whorls of a fingerprint. The same geometry, the same rhythm, the same intelligence flows through every layer of existence. Now bring it closer to home. If your inner world is chaotic, fearful, or resentful, your outer world will faithfully reflect that pattern. Broken relationships, stalled opportunities, endless frustration, these are not accidents. They are correspondences. The universe is mirroring back to you the blueprint you carry inside. But here's the hidden gift. If the outer mirrors the inner, then by changing the inner, you can transform the outer. This is why inner work is the most potent form of real work. Meditation, reflection, shadow integration, these are not luxuries. They are the tools of creation. Because when you heal the pattern inside, the pattern outside must correspond. Think of the times when you shifted your mindset and suddenly everything out there began to change. A relationship softened. Money began to flow. Health improved. That was not coincidence. That was correspondence. The universe cannot help but echo what you carry within. The modern world often tricks us into thinking we can rearrange the outside without tending to the inside. Buy this, change that, control them, manipulate this. But the law of correspondence makes it clear, as within, so without. If you want to change your world, change yourself. If you want to heal society, heal the psyche. If you want to understand the cosmos, study the self. Because they are not separate, they are mirrors. The law of vibration. Everything moves. The third law is the law of vibration. And this one changes everything. It declares that nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. From the densest rock to the highest thought, all is in constant motion. The difference between matter, energy, emotion, and thought is simply the rate of vibration. Science confirms this. Atoms are not still. Their particles pulse and spin. Light itself is vibration. Sound is vibration. Heat is vibration. And your emotions? They too are frequencies vibrating through your body, radiating outward into the field around you. This law explains why you click with some people and feel repelled by others. It's vibration. Their frequency resonates or clashes with yours. It explains why certain places feel uplifting and others drain you. It's not imagination. It's vibration. It explains why practices like chanting, drumming, breathwork, and music have always been sacred. They alter your vibration, and in doing so, they alter your reality. Most importantly, the law of vibration explains why your thoughts and feelings attract experiences of the same frequency. Fear vibrates low, heavy, dense. Gratitude vibrates high, expansive, radiant. When you dwell in fear, you tune your field to attract more fear-inducing circumstances. When you cultivate gratitude, you resonate with abundance. The universe does not judge, it simply echoes. This is why the masters of reality are masters of vibration. They know how to shift their state, how to elevate their frequency, how to choose their resonance intentionally rather than reactively. They understand that being in control of vibration is being in control of life itself. Imagine two tuning forks. Strike one, and the other begins to vibrate in harmony, even without being touched. This is how your vibration influences everything around you. Your energy field is constantly striking the environment, calling it into resonance with your state. When you raise your vibration, you don't just change yourself. You change the room, the people, the opportunities, the very possibilities available to you. So ask yourself, what frequency are you broadcasting right now? Because whether you know it or not, the universe is already answering. The foundation of reality. Together, these first three laws form the foundation of everything else. Mentalism reveals that reality begins in the mind. Correspondence shows that the inner and outer are reflections of each other. Vibration demonstrates that the frequency of your thoughts and emotions dictates the quality of your experiences. Once you grasp these, you begin to awaken from the trance of chance. You no longer dismiss synchronicities as accidents. You recognize them as correspondences. You no longer feel trapped in circumstances. You understand that they are mental creations. You no longer believe energy is abstract. You sense vibration in everything, and you learn to tune it. This is why initiates were once trained for years before being shown these truths, because the power is immense. Once you realize your mind is the architect, your inner state the blueprint, and your vibration the magnet, you can no longer live unconsciously. You must take responsibility for your creations. And yet, this is only the beginning, because the next four laws, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender reveal the dynamics that move reality itself. They explain the cycles of your life, the opposites that generate creation, the chain of causation that binds events together, and the balance of forces that sustains existence. Without these, your understanding would be incomplete. So, as we move into the next section, prepare yourself. The first three laws have shown you that you are the sculptor of reality. The next four will show you the tools, the rhythms, and the hidden mechanics by which the sculpting takes place. Together, they will reveal the full architecture of existence. And once you see it, you will never see life the same way again. By now, you've begun to sense the invisible framework of existence, that your mind is not a bystander, but the architect, that the patterns within you echo into the world around you, and that your vibration is the silent song that calls your reality to you. But those are only the foundations. To understand the full architecture of life, you must grasp the remaining four laws. These govern the movement, the balance, the sequence, and the dance of creation itself. Without them, the universe would unravel. With them, you begin to master the tides of existence. The law of polarity opposites are the same in degree. The fourth law is the law of polarity. It reveals that everything has its opposite, and yet those opposites are not enemies, but two ends of the same spectrum. Light and darkness, heat and cold, love and hate, success and failure. They appear opposed, but they are connected, inseparable, differing only in degree. Think of a thermometer. Where does hot end and cold begin? There is no absolute line. Hot shades into warm, warm into cool, cool into cold. The same with emotions. Love shades into indifference, which shades into hate. What feels like opposition is simply movement along a single scale. Why does this matter? Because once you understand polarity, you gain power over it. If you are drowning in despair, you don't need to leap instantly to joy. You only need to shift yourself slightly along the spectrum despair to acceptance, acceptance to hope, hope to optimism. Small movements compound, and as you shift, your vibration shifts, drawing new realities toward you. Polarity also explains the paradoxes of existence. Why does the same fire that warms you also burn you? Why does ambition inspire some and destroy others? Because every quality contains its opposite. Mastery comes not from denying polarity, but from learning to navigate it consciously. To the awakened, obstacles are simply opportunities in disguise. Defeat contains the seed of victory. Every shadow conceals a spark of light. This is why sages have always taught balance. If you cling to one pole and resist the other, you create suffering. But when you embrace the law, when you recognize that opposites are teachers guiding you along a spectrum, you step into harmony. The law of rhythm. The pendulum swings. The fifth law is the law of rhythm. It tells us that everything moves in cycles. The pendulum swings left and right. The tides rise and fall. The seasons shift from growth to decay and back again. Your breath expands and contracts, and so does your life. Look closely at your own journey. Times of expansion are always followed by contraction. Times of contraction always lead to expansion. Success is followed by challenge. Challenge, when endured, leads again to success. Nothing stands still. Rhythm is the heartbeat of the universe. Most people resist this law. When life brings contraction, they panic, believing the winter will never end. When expansion arrives, they cling, fearing the wave will crash. But the wise understand. Rhythm is not to be resisted. It is to be ridden. Like a surfer on the ocean, you don't curse the waves. You learn to dance with them. This law explains why moods shift, why societies rise and fall, why civilizations cycle through golden ages and dark ages. Nothing escapes rhythm, but here lies the secret. While the pendulum must swing, your consciousness can rise above its extremes. Imagine standing at the center of the swing rather than being hurled to its edges. Through awareness, you can observe rhythm without being enslaved by it. When depression pulls you downward, remember the pendulum must swing back. When joy carries you upward, don't clutch in fear of loss, ride the crest knowing rhythm continues. Mastery of rhythm brings peace. You no longer resist the seasons of your life. You work with them. You plant in spring, harvest in summer, reflect in autumn, rest in winter. And in doing so, you find harmony with the universal flow. The law of cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. The sixth law is the law of cause and effect. It states simply, nothing happens by chance. Every effect has a cause. Every cause produces an effect. Chance is only a name given to laws we don't yet perceive. Think of dropping a stone in water. Ripples spread outward. That is cause and effect. But now, look at your own life. The thoughts you've allowed, the choices you've made, the habits you've cultivated, these are the stones. The ripples are the events, relationships, and circumstances you now experience. Most people live unconsciously, blaming luck, fate, or coincidence for their outcomes. But the initiate understands, you cannot escape cause and effect. You can only choose whether you participate consciously as a cause or unconsciously as an effect. If you do not become the cause of your reality, you will always be at the mercy of others' causes. This law is both sobering and empowering. It strips away the illusion of victimhood but gives you the reins of destiny. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take is a cause sending ripples into the universe. Some ripples return quickly, others take years, but all return. Karma is simply another word for this law. To master it, you must act with awareness. Before speaking, ask, what effect will this word ripple into the world? Before choosing, ask, What seed am I planting with this cause? The wise sow consciously, knowing that their harvest is inevitable. The unwise sow carelessly, then curse the harvest when it arrives. When you begin to live as a cause rather than an effect, life transforms. You stop waiting for opportunities and create them. You stop fearing outcomes and design them. You stop blaming chance and recognize the chain of causation. The law of gender, the dance of creation. The seventh and final law is the law of gender. It tells us that everything contains both masculine and feminine principles, and creation requires the union of both. Look at nature. The seed, masculine, must join with the soil, feminine, to grow. The sun, masculine, must shine upon the earth, feminine, to nourish life. The sperm and egg unite to create a new being. The pattern is universal. But this law is not limited to biology. It operates in your mind and spirit as well. The masculine is active, projective, outward thought, will, intention. The feminine is receptive, nurturing, inward intuition, imagination, gestation. For an idea to manifest, both must unite. The thought must be planted in the soil of imagination. The will must be balanced by receptivity. Too much masculine without feminine leads to forceful action without nourishment. Too much feminine without masculine leads to endless dreaming without manifestation. Balance births creation. The modern world often distorts this law. Some cultures exalt the masculine, worshiping productivity, aggression, and conquest while devaluing receptivity and intuition. Others may romanticize the feminine while neglecting discipline and direction. But the truth is, both are sacred, both are required. Every person, regardless of gender identity, carries both principles within them. Harmony arises when you integrate them. This law also reveals why relationships are so potent. When two beings unite, whether in love, collaboration, or shared vision, their energies interweave, creating something greater than either could alone. The dance of gender is the dance of life itself. The complete architecture. Now you see the full picture. The 7 hidden laws are not separate teachings. They are facets of a single reality. Mentalism tells you all begins in the mind. Correspondence shows that patterns mirror across scales. Vibration reveals the frequencies that shape experiences. Polarity explains the interplay of opposites. Rhythm shows the cycles that govern all. Cause and effect ensures that nothing is random. And gender demonstrates that creation requires union. Together, they are the blueprint of existence, the code behind manifestation, the architecture of reality. Most people remain asleep to this code, tossed about by polarity, enslaved by rhythm, confused by cause and effect, unbalanced in gender. But you are awakening. You are beginning to see the design, and once you see, you cannot unsee. In the next section, we will integrate all 7 laws into a living practice. You will see how to apply them daily, how to align with them consciously, how to become not just a student of the laws, but a participant in their power. This is where knowledge becomes transformation. This is where awakening becomes action. You've walked through the hidden architecture of reality. You've seen how everything begins in the mind, how inner and outer reflect, how vibration shapes destiny, how opposites intertwine, how cycles govern, how causes ripple into effects, and how creation is born of balance. These are not abstract philosophies. They are living laws, written into every breath you take, every choice you make, every coincidence that crosses your path. The question now is, what will you do with them? Knowledge without application is like seed never planted. Powerful, yes, but inert. To awaken to the 7 laws is not merely to understand them intellectually. It is to embody them, to practice them, to let them shape the way you walk through the world. Because once you see the laws, life will test you. The universe will ask, are you ready to live as a conscious participant, or will you slip back into the trance of unconsciousness? Living the laws. To integrate these principles, begin where you are. The law of mentalism invites you to take responsibility for your thoughts. Each morning, notice where your mind drifts. Is it toward fear, resentment, distraction? Or is it toward vision, gratitude, clarity? By disciplining your mental focus, you discipline reality itself. Journaling, meditation, visualization, these are not rituals of escape. They are the training ground for mentalism. The law of correspondence asks you to look in the mirror of your life. What do your relationships reveal about your inner state? What do your finances reflect about your beliefs? What does your body mirror about your emotional landscape? Instead of cursing the outer, use it as feedback for the inner. Heal within, and without must follow. The law of vibration calls you to tune your energy. Pay attention to the music of your emotions. Don't suppress them, but don't be enslaved by them either. Learn to shift your state through breath, movement, gratitude, sound, or simply choosing a higher perspective. When your vibration rises, your field of possibilities expands. The law of polarity reminds you that no situation is absolute. Every challenge holds the seed of its opposite. Train yourself to look for it. In moments of despair, ask, where is the hidden potential? In times of success, ask, what shadows must I remain aware of? By navigating polarity consciously, you transmute obstacles into stepping stones. The law of rhythm invites you to align with cycles instead of resisting them. If you are in a season of contraction, don't panic. Use it to rest, reflect, prepare. If you are in a season of expansion, move boldly, knowing the tide will eventually recede, and that's not loss, it's rhythm. Master rhythm, and you master peace. The law of cause and effect demands responsibility. Every thought, every word, every action is a cause. Live as if each seed you plant will return multiplied because it will. Act with intention. Speak with awareness. Sow what you wish to reap. When you live as a cause, you cease being an effect. The law of gender asks you to balance your energies. When you are too forceful, invite receptivity. When you are too passive, summon action. When you dream, follow with discipline. When you strive, balance with intuition. Creation arises from harmony, not imbalance. The danger of ignoring. What happens if you ignore these laws? Nothing good. The laws operate regardless of your awareness. To ignore them is like ignoring gravity and stepping off a cliff. You don't break the law. You break yourself against it. Look around at the chaos of the world. Societies collapse because they ignore rhythm. Leaders fall because they ignore polarity. Individuals suffer because they ignore mentalism, letting fear and scarcity sculpt their lives. Nations wage war because they ignore gender, exalting domination over balance. None of this is random. It is what happens when the laws are forgotten. But you are being invited to remember, to live differently, to awaken where others sleep, to create consciously where others react unconsciously. That is the gift and the responsibility of awakening. The signs of awakening. As you integrate these laws, you'll notice subtle shifts. Synchronicities will multiply. Patterns will become clear. Your intuition will sharpen. People will tell you that you seem different, calmer, clearer, magnetic. Opportunities will arrive without strain. Challenges will still come, but you'll navigate them with grace. At first, these changes may feel uncanny, but soon you'll realize this is how reality is meant to be lived. In harmony with its laws, flowing with its currents, creating with its principles. You are not bending the universe to your will. You are aligning with the code it has always followed. And in doing so, you become powerful not by force, but by resonance. The final threshold. Remember, once you see, you cannot unsee. The laws will keep revealing themselves, whether you choose to honor them or not. Every time you encounter polarity, every time you ride rhythm, every time you sow causes and reap effects, you will know what is happening. Ignorance will no longer protect you, and that is a gift. Because awareness is sovereignty. But knowledge alone is not enough. The universe calls you to embody it, to live it, to teach it, not by words alone, but by the example of your life. Others will awaken through you, simply by feeling your vibration, by witnessing your alignment. That is how the ripple spreads. So here is your invitation. Step into alignment with the 7 hidden laws. Let them guide your thoughts, shape your actions, and elevate your being. Stop living as an effect of unconscious forces and start living as a conscious cause. Stop resisting rhythm and start dancing with it. Stop fearing polarity and start transmuting it. Stop waiting for miracles and start creating them. If these words have stirred something inside you, it is not coincidence. It is activation. It is the signal that you are ready to cross the threshold fully. The universe is asking, will you remain a passive observer, or will you become a conscious participant in the great design? The choice is yours. But remember, the laws do not wait. They operate whether you acknowledge them or not. The only question is whether you will align with them or be bound by them. So take the next step. Deepen your study. Strengthen your practice. Surround yourself with others who are awakening. Embody the laws and watch your life transform. Because when you align with the hidden architecture of reality, the universe itself conspires to move with you. The doorway is open. You are ready. Step through